We have a very excellent hospital down the street from us, and there's a big plastic board of donors at the hospital. And she suggested, why don't you go by and get those names and then contact. Now, how do you think about that? You're laughing.
Because Bill, every time I go somewhere and they have a donor board, I'm taking pictures. I
Okay.
want all those names.
So what do I do with the names? How do I get my foot in the door?
So let's do some research first, right? So you take a picture of that donor board and you put those names into your spreadsheet, alphabetize them by last name, and then do a quick Google search to see what comes up. Google is an incredible tool and it has its pitfalls. So I'll give you some pointers. If someone has a LinkedIn profile, you absolutely want to click on that because that will tell you about their entire career and their education. And then you'll know how long they've been in the community and what they do and where it tells you all kinds of things. If someone is active in their career, it's likely that they have a LinkedIn profile, and you can create, Bill, your LinkedIn profile for free. If they don't have a LinkedIn profile, then that generally means that they're older. Okay, because people over the age of 65 to 70, they finish their career and they never had to make a LinkedIn profile, right? So that's helpful information because it's likely that they're older, which means they're likely in a position to be able to give. So you don't learn as much about that person because they don't have a digital footprint, but it does clue you in to their stage in life. I should also share with you, Bill, that anyone who is 70 and a half or older can make an annual charitable distribution from their IRA up to $100,000. When you get to the point in the conversation, it's a good thing to remind people about. Now, the other thing that you can often find on Google is their street address. If their name is John Smith, that's not going to help you find their street address because there are a gazillion of them, right? But you will find that there's a uniqueness enough about their name. You know, maybe it's Brian and Juanita McPherson. I'm just making this up. Brian and Juanita McPherson. That's unique enough that you're probably going to be able to find their street address. When you find their street address, then you're able to, on Google Maps, look at their neighborhood. You can see a satellite photo of their neighborhood, and you can see the street view of the front of their house. If you see that they live in the wealthy community, if you see that they have this big house and a pool and a Mercedes parked in the yard, that indicates also that they're doing well. So even without doing wealth screening, you can do a Google search on people and begin to orient yourself to their stage in life. Google will also often tell you about their philanthropy because community foundations, larger universities, colleges will profile their major donors, and that's also out there and can be helpful for you to understand what their giving priorities are. It is likely that if they gave to your local hospital, it is likely that they are considered grateful patients. Okay, that's what hospitals call grateful patients. They had some medical event and they were a patient of the hospital, and then the very smart fundraisers at the hospital followed up with them and they said, oh my gosh, it was so great being there. And then the development person says, well, would you like to help other people recover from their heart surgery with your $1 million gift? If they supported your local hospital, they're certainly interested in medical care. The question is then going to be, can you make the pivot to getting them interested in caring for people in the Congo? Now, the other thing that you can do, Bill, is get a monthly membership to White Pages, and it's about $20 a month. but you can put any name and town or street address into white pages, and that will return a phone number. It gives you a place to start to make a phone call to say, hey, Sherry and Bill, I live here in town and I'm helping with a ministry in the Congo, and I would love to get your advice about how we can build a hospital overseas. You always want to call someone and ask for advice. If you want money, ask for advice. If you want advice, ask for money.